What's up? My name is George Holden, Northern Prawn. How are you? I hope you're well. It's been a few weeks since I made a video. I know, I've left you all alone, but it's because I've had work, so it's good news really. I mean, I was making a lot of YouTube videos before, I didn't really have as much work on, but now work has picked up, so busyness is good. I'm gonna try and make more YouTube videos. The last few weeks were just a bit hectic, and I didn't really have any space on my laptop to even start editing, but now I'm back, I've got time, we good. So yeah, here's one about vertical video. Those are just a few examples of shots that I've done recently for personal trainer clients. I've recently been trying to get into like the fitness space within my freelance work, and it's been a lot of fun, to be honest. I've always sort of had an interest in fitness, filmmaking, and sort of sportswear and that sort of thing. And it's definitely an avenue I'm gonna try and go down. I worked at a cinema in Leeds last year, and one of our main adverts was the Adidas See My Creativity advert. It's like a bunch of female athletes, and it's like 30 seconds long. The sound design is so sick, the tune is sick, and it's that sort of like athletic, activewear pace advertising. It's just so good, it's so good. It gets you so revved up. I'd literally be in the cinema just like, I wanna exercise right now, and that's not something I say often at all. So what do you need to be able to shoot vertical video well with high quality? Well, I mean, if you're just doing it yourself and you're a small business and you don't want to invest in a camera, you don't really care about learning videography or anything like that, you can just shoot on your phone. You'll be fine, don't worry. Instagram's a pretty forgiving platform. Just go ahead with it. As long as your content that's actually in the video is good, there's nothing really to worry about. But if you want to step it up a bit and you want to really take that up to the next level, you're gonna want a DSLR, you're gonna want an L plate, and you're gonna want a gimbal of some sort. This is the Moza Air 2. I love it, but any gimbal is good. The only bad gimbal is no gimbal, probably, I guess. So for mounting your DSLR onto your L bracket, all you need is an L bracket. You can get them on Amazon for like, I think this one was £8. I think they go for as little as 5, but for as much as like 25. But at the end of the day, just read a few reviews. As long as it's solid metal and the screws are good, like, you don't really need to worry. And also, I wouldn't really recommend putting a heavy camera on one of these. I mean, I can't imagine you getting like a 1DX2 on here, but I mean, for this demonstration, I am using a Canon 600D with a nifty 50, which is just, I feel like I'm in 2012. This is amazing, I love it. This is my friend's camera that he sort of lent me as my B cam, and it's great for little demonstrations like these. The bracket itself just mounts on the bottom of the camera like that, and then on this angle of the L bracket, you just mount your base plate, and then that goes onto your tripod or your gimbal. So, quickly, little mount to the gimbal. I totally haven't mounted this properly. It's only half mounted, but once you've got it on the gimbal, it then just sort of functions as normal. Everything's fine, except your display is all at 90 degrees, so you may or may not just have to tilt your head like this when you want to read the digits. So give yourself enough clearance, and then you can still use it in all the various modes as well. And honestly, I've been shooting like this a lot recently. It's amazing. Honestly, you're suddenly shooting vertical content at like a high production value, and it looks sick. If you're shooting for Instagram stories, then you're all good. You don't need to worry about clipping off the size of your frame or anything. But if you're shooting for the Instagram feed, then the aspect ratio is actually 4:5 rather than 9:16 if it's vertical. So you have to take that into account when you are shooting. You need to give your subject a little bit more headroom, just in case when you're cropping later, you don't have enough space for them. It is quite good because it means you can sort of reframe vertically your shot in post, but if it's a tight shot as it is, you're gonna leave yourself in a bit of a situation, but I'll show you how. Okay, so first thing you need to do once you're in the edit is to set up your project so it's actually in the right aspect ratio for Instagram. I'm currently editing in DaVinci Resolve, but this works in everything, obviously. And you go into your project settings, or whatever it is on your editor, go to where you have your aspect ratio, and then you wanna set it so it's a 4:5 ratio. Obviously, within the numbers that you're using, if you're shooting at 1080p, you have 1920 by 1080. So it's reversing those, so it's in a vertical orientation, but also getting the most out of your resolution. And the way I found this best to do with 1920 by 1080 is to make it into 1000 by 1250, which is still a 4:5 ratio, because obviously if it's by 250, you get 4 of those in 1000, 5 in 1250. So that seems to work best for me at the moment. If anyone else knows better resolutions to do that for, whether you should upscale it or not, I'd be keen to know. I haven't really tried it out too much yet. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna notice is that your canvas has displayed black bars at the top and bottom of your clip. It's because your clip is now there horizontal in its normal aspect ratio, just downsized a little bit to fit the canvas, but you need to rotate it and enlarge it so that you're taking full advantage of the new aspect ratio. So the first thing you need to do is rotate the clip by either 90 degrees or minus 90 degrees, depending on which way you shot with your camera. Mine were all set up, so it should be done at minus 90 degrees. And then you need to upscale it. I've been upscaling mine by 1.775. Seems to do it pretty well. And as I mentioned before, when you've got this, that's now taking full advantage, which is good. We can see that this is now the full aspect ratio is fully taken up. But if you needed to, if you think you've chopped off the head or you've chopped off their feet, depending on what the shot is, depending on what the composition is, you can change the position and actually still have a bit of wiggle room on either side. I've been shooting purely with primes on my gimbal setup when I'm doing vertical video, so I just make sure that I have enough space between me and the subject that I can get that bit of wiggle room on top and bottom. I recently made a mistake when taking photos, not to give myself enough room, because I just kept my prime on and was just taking shots, not thinking about the fact that I was gonna export all of these with a crop of a 4:5 aspect ratio in Lightroom. So you just need to make sure you're doing that sort of thing. Once you set it up for one shot, you don't need to go through and manually do it for every other shot. You can actually just copy on DaVinci Resolve. You can just hit Command C. You just need to select all the videos that are relevant on your timeline, all the ones that actually require to be rotated into a vertical orientation, and then just hit Alt V, which is paste attributes on DaVinci. And then all you need to do is just hit rotation angle and zoom and make sure both X and Y scale are applied. And once you've done that, all of them should be fully rotated, and that's what you want. We've got it. So that's it. This is my vertical workflow at the moment. I hope this has been helpful for some of you. If you have any questions, just hit me a comment down below, and I'm posting more stuff like this as I go on. Now that I'm doing a lot more like freelance jobs and like smaller scale things where it's a quick turnaround, I'm learning quite a lot. So I'm excited to share this sort of thing with you in case you're wanting to go into freelance videography or photography. I'm going to be sharing various tutorials as I learn. So yeah, stay tuned, hit subscribe, hit notifications, like this video, drop us a comment, and I'll see you in the next video, which may be next week, maybe the week after, or it'll be whenever I find time. Bye bye.